Welcome to the race briefing for the Cantebrury Classic Triathlon and Duathlon at Wainui. This is the briefing and overview for all events excluding the Junior and Kids Challenge Aquathon events. When you attend the pre-race registration, you'll receive a number of items, the first one being a bib number. This is to be worn on your front during the run leg. We need to see it as you cross the finish line. It's optional whether you wear it on the bike leg. Next you'll have a page of stickers. One of these will go around the seat post of your bike, one will be for the front of your helmet, one will be for the side, and the final sticker is to go around the handles of your bag, which you can leave in the bag drop area at the end of transition. You cannot leave any bulky items in the transition area. You'll also receive a swim cap that you need to wear during the swim. We're more than happy for you to reuse swim caps from previous year to save yourself having a drawer full of swim caps. And then finally you'll receive a timing chip. This is to be worn around your left ankle. Make sure it is securely fastened, it's Velcro, and that needs to stay on you for the duration of the event. The race is being held in Wainui, which is across the harbour from Akaroa, which is around about an hour 15 to an hour 30 from Christchurch, so allow plenty of time to arrive. Once you come up and over and then down the other side of the hilltop, you need to turn right at Barry's Bay for the signs heading to French Farm and Wainui. When you arrive at Wainui, you need to drive past the transition area, which is on the left-hand side of the road. Around about 300 metres past the transition, you'll turn right up Wainui Valley Road and then turn left into the domain area where you'll be able to park. As you can see, the race headquarters and the finish area is close to where the cars will be parked, so if you need to pick up your race registration pack or anything else, that can be done en route to the transition area. There will be toilets at the finish area and there will also be some other toilets at the transition. For those of you doing the triathlon option, the swim will be off the beautiful Wainui beach and hopefully the conditions will be as you can see in this picture. If you're doing the Olympic distance option, you'll be doing 2 laps around the yellow buoys. So starting on the beach, going around all 3 of the yellow buoys twice, and then exiting and running to transition. If you are doing the short course option, you'll start at the same position as the Olympic distance athletes. You'll swim to the first yellow buoy and then you'll turn right into an orange buoy and then you'll turn right again and swim to shore and exit. So you can see the 2 courses here. The red indicates the Olympic distance, which is 2 laps. The yellow indicates the short course, which is 1 lap. Swim start will be in around about knee depth water. We will be having this race at low tide, so it will be sandy on the beach. You will notice when you exit the swim there are a lot of large rocks. We will have a pathway clear which will be covered with carpet, however it still will be a bit rough. It is quite a long run to transition, but it is on the grass, so your feet should be fine. Transition is going to be relatively long. You'll have a fairly long run from the swim for the triathletes, around about 250 metres till you enter the transition area. Duathletes will go over your entry point later. Basically enter the transition area and find your bike and exit at the far end. The same will apply when you finish the bike ride. You'll dismount, run into transition, run all the way through and exit at the same end that you exited at the start of the bike leg. Onto the bike course. One word would describe the bike course and that would be hilly. So for the Olympic athletes you're doing 2 laps. The bike course is 34.5 kilometres. We do understand this is a bit shorter than a normal Olympic distance race, but we can assure you the times will not reflect the distance given the hilly nature of the course. If you're doing the short course race, it is 1 lap. So a description of the course, as I said, it is hilly. We would suggest a road bike over a time trial bike if you have the option. Be very, very careful if it's wet. There will be some slippery corners, and do appreciate this is 1 road in, 1 road out, so there may be a little bit of traffic. It's a relatively narrow road, so please be courteous to any other road users while you're on the course and keep left at all times. If you follow the little icon in this map here, you'll get a description of the course. As you can see at the beginning, you have a short stretch through Wainui before you come to a turnaround point by a jetty. You'll then turn, come back past transition, and for the Olympic athletes, you can see now you'll be starting your second lap. You go up a steep climb, along the top it's quite lumpy, then you've got a very steep fast descent, bit of flat through the French farm area, and then you return with that very steep climb along the top and then descend back down into Wainui. Just a few warnings with regards to this course, given it is a fairly tricky and hilly course. When you're coming through Wainui, make sure you watch out for pedestrians and runners that could be walking across the road and not noticing where you're coming from. Always stay left. You cannot cross the centre line. It's an automatic disqualification, no questions asked. At the turnaround points, you may be required to give way, although there will be traffic management in place. On the downhills, make sure you keep left so others can pass on the right. There is a yacht club on the way back. Be cautious there in case anybody is taking a yacht out for a sail. If there is wet conditions, please be extremely careful. Pace yourself. It is a tough course and the roads are not closed to traffic whatsoever. If you would like to see a complete video overview of the bike course, we have an alternate clip that will be sent to all participants and is also available on the website. This event will be run under Triathlon New Zealand rules, so a few key rules you need to be aware of, especially for the bike. Firstly, this is a non-drafting race, which means you need to leave 10 metres between your front wheel and the front wheel of the rider in front. You cannot use any music devices. This also applies on the run. The centre line can never be crossed. That's an automatic disqualification. There will be a penalty box on the course to serve your infringements. Blocking, you need to keep left so you're not impeding the progress of others. For a full set of rules, please refer to the Triathlon New Zealand website. The penalty box will be located midway on the course. There is a large lay-by. It should be obvious with a couple of penalty box signs. This is where you'll serve any drafting infringements or blocking infringements. When you finish the bike leg and coming into transition for the second time, it's relatively straightforward. There will be a dismount line. You must be off your bike by the dismount line. When you run into transition, park your bike and exit at the far end of transition. At the beginning of the run leg, you will be required to stay on the grass on the left-hand side. When you go over a small bridge, you'll then be on the road and then need to go back on the grass before you make your right-hand turn up Wainui Valley Road. Final leg of the race is the run. For the short course athletes, you'll complete 1 lap. For the Olympic distance athletes, you will do 2 laps. As with the bike, it's a challenging course. You'll exit transition, run along the waterfront on the grass on the left-hand side of the road. You'll then cross the road up Wainui Valley Road to the turn point. This is the flattest part of the course, but it is still slightly up and down. You'll run back towards the foreshore, turn left, running along the left-hand side of the road, again keeping on the grass. You'll then turn left up Cemetery Road, which is a long and steep climb. At the top of this climb, when you do pass the cemetery, you will pass an aid station. You'll then go along the sort of tops of the climb, then turn around and come back. You can see this graphic here shows you going up the climb there, turning right there for the aid station, turning around and having the steep descent back down. When you are running along the waterfront, you may have to give way to let cyclists go through depending on where you are located on the course. So runners need to give way to cyclists. This image here just shows the end of Cemetery Road where you will need to give way to cross the road to either head out for your second lap or proceed to the finish line for short course athletes. At the end of your run, you will run past the Wainui Valley turn and you will turn right where the finish line is located in front of the community centre. If you're doing either of the aquabike options, you will start with the triathletes and do the swim and the bike. Your race effectively finishes when you enter the transition at the end of the bike leg. However, you're welcome to run down to the finish line, which is around about 500 metres away, to cross the finish line like everyone else, or you can just simply stop when you've finished the bike leg. For Olympic distance duathletes, your start line will be at the end of the transition area where the bike exit and run exit are located. You will then run along the waterfront, staying on the grass, then turn right into Wainui Valley Road and complete 2 laps on Wainui Valley Road. So you'll run up the first time to the turn point, come back down. There will be a duathlon turn point just before you reach the main road. You'll turn around that sign, go back up to the end of the valley road, come back down, and then at the end you will turn left into the main road, run along the waterfront, keeping on the left on the grass. When you approach Cemetery Road, which is the left-hand turn you'll be making later on to go up the hill, you'll go through that intersection, keeping on the left-hand side of the road on the grass to the far end of the transition, where you'll be directed to cross the road, and you'll enter the transition area at the same location as the swimmers once they have completed their swim leg. So watch this little clip and it will hopefully make things nice and clear. The short course duathlon is the same route as the Olympic distance duathlon, the difference being it is only one lap of Wainui Valley Road. So starting by the transition, running along the waterfront, turning right into Wainui Valley Road, running up as far as the turn point, turning, coming back down Wainui Valley Road and turning left along the waterfront and back to transition, passing over the Cemetery Road intersection and crossing the road where directed to enter the transition area where the swimmers also enter. Please note that runners will need to give way to cyclists, so there may be a wait getting across the road. This event is brought to you by the Cantebrury Triathlon Club. Please do all that you can to support the club who really maintain the sport in our region. We couldn't do this event also without our volunteers, so please be a good sport. Say thanks to them when you're out there, be respectful, and when it's your turn, please try to volunteer at one event per year. Other than that, we hope you have a great race, keep a smile on the dial, and enjoy yourselves.